And Ian Wilson returns today for the morning shot. So let's get the ball rolling on this Thursday. I'll see you soon. I'm going to run in, as always, to get the ball rolling for the latest installment of the Morning Brew. See you soon. Stepping in on this beautiful Thursday morning. I mean, despite all what's taking place, we need to see the glass as half full. I always remember one of our avid callers, St. James, forever optimist, very positive outlook on life, and I try to reflect that particular frequency and energy in the program. Yes, I know there are major concerns, lots of questions, probably more questions than answers at this point in time in Trinidad and Tobago, and we try to dissect it together. But we must be hopeful. I think there was way more light compared to the darkness that's in the place. Now the darkness is very bitter and very severe. But we must always focus on the light, and we also need to be that light and try our very best. At least that's my particular momentum every day. Whatever time I'm given, I just try your best to try your best to just be your best at the end of the day. It's never easy. It's easier said sometimes than done, but we give it that particular effort. I will always talk about being the change we want to see, and it starts with us. We don't need law enforcement or laws or regulations to dictate that particular momentum. So for those who really go out there and they give of their very best, I want to say I recognize you this morning, and let's keep the momentum. We go to the front page, and yes, lots happening coming out of this most unfortunate circumstance over the weekend, and the murder plot thickens, as mentioned here by the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian. A 28-year-old officer to be charged with the killing of Officer Eversley, also charged with the trafficking of firearms, possession of ammunition, and robbery. 5 others suspended as ACP remains on leave. And we're hearing other developments circling around, and to me personally, I mean, obviously I know the investigators and those charged with getting to the bottom of this scenario would put forward obviously whatever information is forthcoming. But I'll hold my hand as it pertains to other developments with this case. It's most unfortunate, and I just hope it, as terrible as it is, it's able to open a chapter where there is accountability, there is really proper vetting, and we get a chance to really take the off elements out of the security apparatus. Because that's a real breach. These are the folks that are charged to keep us safe, to secure to secure the country, as it were, and to be, those foot soldiers there to carry out what the parliament, in terms of the highest place where they make these laws to regulate the country's movement, the way we build and the way we try to grow. They're supposed to be the ones to really, foresee and to see it through. And if someone who is supposed to be treating with it in that manner is also breaking the law, well, again, it raises the question as to who's guarding the guards, and it speaks to corruption, and it speaks to the dropping of the ball on a really serious level. And again, it's an issue of trust. There are many who want to trust the system, who want to trust the security apparatus, but when you see this kind of scenario, it is truly heartbreaking. And I know there's going to be a deeper probe. Obviously, Officer Russell will step in today, and we will get some more, not clearly on the investigation, but what's the approach going forward, and what's the messaging that the TTPS wants to put out at this time in light of this very unfortunate and unprecedented circumstance over the weekend. Also, I'm looking at the front page here. No cabinet reshuffle. The Prime Minister yesterday went to a ceremony there hosted by the Hilton Garden Inn at South Park, San Fernando. It was also her birthday, so all smiles there. Minister Hussein, Minister Alexander, greeting her, I think giving her a cupcake, it seems. So that development here on page 10. You can read more. And also, as mentioned, Customs would have seized over $1 million in marijuana at the port of Port of Spain. Coming out of that, we have an attorney at law that will speak to port security and give us some more details regarding developments as it pertains to locking the border and what, I guess, legal ramifications, if, you know, what's under the law when it comes to this kind of breach, as it will. And obviously, ACP Russell has mentioned. The Business Guardian breakdown too, that's happening this morning. We will treat with that momentarily. Let's head to the back page because Lakers, they have taken a 2-0 lead in the series. It's playoff time. And when you think Lakers, kind of hot and cool, and you're looking at a man like Durant, one of the greatest of the era, right? And Houston Rockets, I know, push over. To see LA take that 2-0 lead, I'm saying, wow, it seems like LeBron is on business this time around. So that's a very most interesting development in the NBA. And for those who love their basketball, it's playoff time, so I know you're going to thoroughly enjoy the next couple of weeks as we get into the business end of the NBA season. Also on the table tennis side of things, Fraser and Thong, they settled for silver. Well done to the youngsters. Let's put that up full page. They went out there. Didn't go all the way, but we still celebrate the effort from the youngsters. They were all part of the Caribbean Youth Championships held in the Dominican Republic yesterday. So well done there to Jana Mohammed and Jordan Thong, our youngsters, settling for the doubles silver. Let's see what's going on in the brief. Yes, the brief this morning saw this particular story on the news. Buku's Healing with Horses wins digital inclusion grant, pardon me. And this is a great initiative in Tobago. Many, in terms of the differently abled, those who just want to get a moment to relax, become one with nature again, become one with the horse. They go down, and from what I understand, it's a great undertaking. And yesterday was actually World Earth Day, so what a great connection in terms of being there in the ocean, being around a majestic animal like the horse. You know, I haven't had much interactions per se. I went to Santa Rosa racetrack once. I think there was some kind of petting zoo. Well, not petting zoo, you know, the police will come with their horse and stuff in different little engagements, so you get a chance to kind of get close, you see the horse. All you are told is never to stand behind any horse, and I think that's common sense because you don't want a horse kick. Of course, horse push the leg back, you get kicked in your chest, you fall up. No, we don't want that. But for those who able to, whether it's here at home or overseas, you're able to do something like this, some kind of engagement like this, it's that connection. You feel, you know, at peace, and it's such a regal animal. I mean, a horse is owned by kings and queens, and you know, it's a horse, eh? This is a horse. This is the real deal. So, well done to the folks in Buku. Great initiative, and probably one day we will, if we're in Tobago, we could always check it out. Of course, the Business Guardian, we're going to get the breakdown later on this morning. Peter Christopher, I believe, steps in. Yes, Peter Christopher still here with us. Curfew versus capital. Experts warn of economic fallout if tighter measures implemented. So we will treat with that story and others inside the Business Guardian. But the port security issue, a burning issue, hot off the press yesterday. We will touch base with Maritime attorney at law, Nairi Alfonso, next on this most important matter. See you soon. It's your Morning Brew for today, Thursday, the 23rd of April, 2026.
Magical Expressions Limited is the largest local importer and distributor of fresh cut stems, offering the widest range of beautiful flowers at the most affordable prices. Call us today at 701-6488 or visit our website to order. Gaming Express Limited is a premium importer and retailer of the highest quality brand name electronics. We stock the widest range of PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, Samsung and Apple devices and accessories. Visit us at Shop 52, Level 2, Gulf City Mall in San Fernando, or contact us by phone or WhatsApp message at 687-7480 or 301-9797 or 798-1280. Like our Facebook and Instagram pages for updates on products and services.
Period nights don't have to look like this. Move less, wake up to change. So change for a real night's sleep with Always Overnight. Its 3 times protection system absorbs, locks the fluid, and keeps it away from your skin. For protected nights without leaks. Always.
Things don't always go as expected. Be ready with Trinry for auto, home, business and group life. Call us at 800-TRIN or visit trinry.com today. Huge insurance premium. Pay your premiums bit by bit with FlexiPay from Trinry. For more manageable auto, home and commercial insurance payments, call us at 800-TRIN or visit trinry.com today. Trinry. Premier insurance coverage for life.
Maritime attorney at law, Nari Alfonso, joins me on the Zoom line. I want to say good morning to you and thank you for the time. I look forward to the council based on the development yesterday. This is yet again a cause for concern and a chance for us to tighten up, I would imagine, our ports. And this happened at the port of Port of Spain, $1 million seized and 1 person in custody. And we all know this is never truly a one-man operation. Your reaction to developments from yesterday at the port. And good morning, as always.
Good morning, Jason, and good morning to your viewers this morning. Again, as usual, any haul of drugs, guns, ammunition is a good thing. That's something that hasn't made its way into the public space. So that's a good thing. So what was found on Tuesday, I'm told, in a washing machine of all things, is 18 packages of marijuana. Now, it's interesting where this was found. If you look at the quantities, this was found in where we clear personal effects in the port, the shed, so-called shed. So that area does barrels and that kind of, and personal effects, not containers and commercial cargoes. So somehow they managed to get, I see from the custom release, $1.4 million worth of marijuana in 18 packages inside of a washing machine. So, you know, many years ago, I don't practice criminal law, but many years ago, I was on a vessel where marijuana also was found, and it was welded into the below the water on the outside of the hull. And one of the things that the customs and police told me at that time, you know, when we get a haul like this, it tells us that we're probably missing 10 times more. So just, if you just run that into the equation, so we found 1 washing machine with 18 packages of marijuana where normal members of the public are clearing their cargo. So that will give us an idea, the potential, if you're speaking of commercial cargoes which are coming in containers. You could imagine the volumes would be greater if they, and of course if they're not detected, as in this case, then I said that is what is leaking into the nation. And I think it's well known. But it bears repeating, Trinidad is a major transshipment point. So while one wonders about consumption and what leaks out with consumption, one also has to look at, you know, we are transshipping this elsewhere, and it's not only, to use the normal law enforcement term, plant-like substances, right? It might be something more of a white nature, which is even more troubling. So I would say a good day for customs, a good day for the Port Authority that you know, these quantities were detected. I asked one of the persons involved, well, how did you know to look in the, you know, the washing machine for these 18 packages? Or, you know, was a dog involved, a scanner involved? And they told me, no, Miss Alfonso, there's a smell that you can get. When you package so many things in a small metallic space, it would have been detected by its smell. Well, there's another type of drugs that probably wouldn't give off a smell. That is very troubling. So very good news for customs and port security that, these quantities have been detected, but as I said, it might be the iceberg effect. This might be the 10%, hauled in and recovered, and somebody, facing the courts.
Well, as a colleague now messaged me there, and it was so interesting with the play of words. They're saying drugs in a machine. That is indeed laundering. No pun intended. That is, for want of a better word, laundering there. But nonetheless, that happened at the port. And I would imagine our ports also, in terms of ports of entry, the unauthorized ports of entry will also be some soft targets, soft spots for smaller craft to bring any kind of narcotic or illicit items, whether it be animals, of course. Well, with the drugs are always accompanied with the guns for protection. Yeah. So I think this brings us now to a wider discussion, because if you're so brazen at the port, what's happening in the Lucero, Erie, Caracas, Cedras, and these are areas where, it's like open sepulchre, even parts of the North Coast, very easily accessible. The Caroni Swamp, we all know what happens there on a regular basis. So where are we? Are we anywhere close? In all your years within the particular field of maritime law and law, have we made any headway, any strides at all? Or we still are open sepulchre here in Trinidad and Tobago?
Well, just to go in the reverse order, I think there's an understanding that the bulk of illegal, whether arms, ammunition, drugs, and because there seems to be a close correlation between them, I think the feeling is the legal ports of entry are still the major trouble and a problem. And I think we have to accept, because the volumes that can come into a container, or containers, not going to be one particular container, are going to be far greater than a pirogue-type vessel, pulling into Blue River in Caroni, or, by Lucy Rose, or by Cedras, or the North Coast, as you said. You could expect, and not to say things are not moving there, but the greater danger for quantity and transshipment, I think it's coming in from the legal ports of entries. Now, dealing with the not so legal ports of entry, or those areas where smaller vessels can come in, which are not ports of entry at all. They may be, they may be harbors, they may be bays, they may be, they're not ports of entry. What you need is enhanced surveillance of our shoreline. As I said, we're an island, so it's no use saying I have a something in Tobago or something in the North Coast if that something or that capability is not able to cover the entire, all of those things that we just discussed, all the rivers, all the swamps, all the coastlines. These seem, once the Coast Guard is not properly equipped in terms of men and women and vessels, then of course you have an issue that is going to be largely either not guarded or underguarded. And let us come into the 21st century. You don't need to have a Coast Guard vessel at at every bay and harbor and possible place that a smaller vessel can come in. What you need is, as what the new term is, intelligence. So intelligence would be radar capability, in my view, so that you would have an idea. Look, this person not looking like they're fishing, right? So we have to be honest. We've had a black market trade with Venezuela for some time. It might be going in the opposite direction now. So Venezuela was a major source of things a little more innocuous. Uncustomed alcohol, uncustomed cigarettes, wildlife, but unfortunately things which are far more pernicious, drugs. The drug of choice has not been the plant-like substance, unfortunately. Not that one is better than the other, but as I said, I think one is more dangerous and damaging and high value than the other. So I think we have to look at, I say, that intelligence. Obviously, Trinidad is a relatively small country, which is a major transshipment point because of our geographic location.
And in that regard, do you think we are a narco state based on the amount of drugs, the proliferation of drugs over all these decades, the fact that many a business might very well be involved, and we have high rulers? I mean, we have seen time and time again, we hear the rumblings and the echoes in the corridor. Do you think, based on all the moving parts, that Trinidad and Tobago is either at this point a narco state or heading in the direction of being a narco state?
I would be more diplomatic and say we have elements of a narco state. We certainly have an underground economy, and we have to look at real estate and so on. Where governments have looked at how you're going to monitor real estate transactions, and do you know your customer, and your anti-money laundering, and your all sorts of things, declarations and so on. But we have an underground economy, and it is fueled by drugs. And as you said earlier in the show, with drugs comes something else as well. Aside from consumption locally, and that we are transshipping as well, we have guns filtering, whether from the municipal corporation, San Fernando office, or illegally. The fact of the matter is, the rumor is when the U.S. fleet was off our coast that, things were very quiet in terms of the illegal trade in drugs and arms and ammunition. Well, I think they may be focused elsewhere. I know they're focused elsewhere in the world. So whatever, small gains or small stops that were gained during that period would have been lost. Let's be serious. I said, if it is, that's a very high value, high income earning business model, so that people are going to be tempted to go into that area. So to that extent, our economy does have money coming in from illegal trade, fueling parts of the economy, the underground economy. I'm not too sure it's subject to VAT and tax and all of those things, but it's certainly fueling some part of the national economy.
Yeah, indeed. Well, I want to thank you, as always, for the perspective. Let's continue at some future date with the conversation. I hope we continue to make some strides. And as always, we appreciate your counsel. All the best.
And thank you for having me on again, Jason. Have a great day.
Same to you. Same to you. It was a pleasure there to have attorney Nairi Alfonso with us on the program. We take a quick pause. I believe we're going to come back with our Business Guardian recap. Later on, Police on You with Officer Russell. See you soon.
With an Answer Bank in-one home mortgage, you enjoy as low as 5% down payment, up to 3 years insurance, refinancing available, expert guidance brewed right. Banking that feels like home. Answer Bank. Switch to a new way of banking. Refinance with an Answer Bank in-one mortgage and enjoy as low as 5% down payment, up to 3 years insurance, expert guidance. Let the perfect mix feel like home. Answer Bank. Switch to a new way of banking.
Looking for the ultimate gaming experience? Welcome to Phase 22 Gaming Lounge, where gamers of all ages come to play, compete, and have fun. Dive into your favorite games on PlayStation, Nintendo, Xbox, or race on our high-tech racing rigs. And experience the thrill of VR with PlayStation and Meta Quest. Our lounge is safe, comfortable, and perfect for everyone. When you're done, check out the latest gaming systems, accessories, and even Samsung and Apple phones. Visit us on the second floor of Gulf City Mall or call 786-2404 to book your gaming session today.
Let's do this. You can get the help you need to succeed with Brand Credit Union. You can believe that you can achieve. Big goals, small ones too. Brand Credit Union, we've got you. No more waiting, that won't do. Make someday today. One life, so make it good. Live the way you know you should. With Brand Credit Union, yes you could. Make someday today.
Live your best life today with Rand Credit Union.
Peter Christopher joins me on the Zoom line to unpack the Business Guardian for today, Thursday. Peter, great to see you as always, my colleague. And, well, I could say the front page, a very interesting one. We'll get into it momentarily. Good morning, Pete. Great to see you, man.
Good morning, and good morning to Trinidad and Tobago. I hope people are not stuck in any set of traffic this morning and have an easy passageway to wherever they're going on this Thursday morning.
I endorse that, my friend. I endorse that. Now, you know, people always talk about be careful what you wish for. You might just get it. This whole talk about, well, are we going to have a curfew? Why the government don't implement a curfew? But the reality is, if that is done, business, especially business in the night, we're talking here the restaurants, the watering holes, any entertainment possibilities are shut. And we all know that particular sector keeps the wheel turning for thousands, probably tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands for all we know. What's the takeaway from this story? Because I'm seeing where curfew versus capital. That seems to be a debate now, Pete?
Yes. I mean, crime is a lingering concern in the country, of course. And as you alluded to, when you enforce a curfew, that means that certain sectors will be shut down. It's not just the entertainment sector. I know that there are some factories close to where I live here in El Socorro where, you know, they would have the night shifts that they would not be able to call out, and that would slow down the production and the ability to manufacture. So it does have some extended impacts if there is a curfew implemented, and that's what the story done by Andrea Perez was our lead story for this week's Business Guardian focuses on what could be the potential impacts on businesses. And it's not just the day-to-day businesses, but from the outside looking in, what would that do for investor confidence? You know, as Trinidad and Tobago is again trying to bolster the growth that we've been seeing in the past couple of years, investors would be looking at that situation and may not be willing to come into a situation where their business hours are limited. So while there is great concern about the crime situation, it's again a balancing act to figure out what are the measures that can be implemented during this state of emergency to allow us to, you know, achieve some kind of growth in the economic sector despite the challenges that we're seeing day to day with regards to crime.
Yeah, very, very, very strong piece by Andrea, because she's talking about tourism, optics, the economic timing of all of this, if it was to be put in place, confidence versus control, so many moving parts. And I'm really happy that at least for now, I don't like personally a curfew. I think that's one that really disrupts so much. And there's a particular momentum and a spirit that is, people feel a bit down. But at the same time, the crime and what we saw over the weekend, it was unprecedented. So it's one of those, I guess, circular debates.
Definitely. Yeah, that you touched on tourism. It would also impact our tourism significantly because, you know, we already are somewhat limited in how we market our tourism, but we're also known for our nightlife, our street food and such. And if you impose a curfew, those food halls and the avenue and all those areas where we see tourists come in to experience Trinidad and Tobago, that would not be an option for them.
Yeah, you know, what a story. I want to head to Ian's story here, or more, Ian, Anthony's apology. How will government dispose of refinery? So the refinery discussion back again in the mix. What's the big takeaway from Anthony's story on page 3?
Well, the refinery, it's been a talking point since it was shut down. Well, it's a talking point even before it was shut down in late 2018. And it's really asking what is the government planning to do with it now that they've gotten the report from the Refinery Start Committee, and you know, the Ministry of Energy has done their assessments. What are the options that they have? What will Minister Dr. Rudal Munilal do with regard to taking an approach to getting that refinery started? Will it be that they'll sell it to consortiums? There have been talk about Owando in the past. There have been talk about Patriotic Front. And all of these things are assessed by Anthony with some questions directed to the government and the Prime Minister and the Minister of Energy with regard to what is the best approach to get this refinery restarted, if at all.
Yeah, is there going to be a case of battery old,
Buying scrap iron, old battery buying.
Yeah, scrap iron, old battery buying. I guess we don't know. We'll find out in the months ahead. I know they really want to get it up and running, but that's going to be such a massive undertaking. I want to take it to the final story that grabbed my attention, and it's to treat with, well, it's a commentary really. It's speaking to TNT's agricultural plan, and if we can deliver on some of the ambitious targets. How do we get more people to get into agriculture? I mean, that's your story there, but I'm watching. I mean, you know what? Let's touch on your story with the import bill and we'll transition to the agriculture story. Because again, food of utmost importance.
Yeah, this story is actually born out of our discussion last week with Ryan Beachu's story about the food import bill. It just so happened that someone I had spoken to a year ago with their own food compost business, they reached out again stating they were once again on a drive, and I asked them about how this approach could impact the food import bill, and they said, well, the whole point of their operation, their operation is to reduce food wastage, and they've been seeing people across the Caribbean. They reached out to some farmers from Grenada, reached out to them to develop their own operations on a similar scale, where they take food wastage from schools, markets, and restaurants and turn it into fertilizer, in essence, through composting. And they're really on the push now to develop that awareness among the younger people. They're going to go to some schools in San Fernando next month. And we just had a discussion as to how these strategies could bring down the food import bill.
Yeah, well said. And I'm looking at even page 10, to continue with that discussion on agriculture. Well, at least there is this major drive from seeing here to revive key commodity sectors, the cocoa, which once was king, rice, livestock and dairy, fisheries, coconuts. There was a time when Tobago used to provide us with pigeon peas and so much great produce. We don't really see that anymore. How do we get more from our soil? How do we get more people to get involved in agriculture?
Well, this entire piece really looks at the investment, or rather the limited investment that is placed in the agricultural sector. It weighs some of the promises that were made during the 2025 election campaign by the UNC, what was said in the manifesto about agriculture, and really looks at what has been done and what hasn't been done and what should be done to help bolster the agriculture sector. And it's really necessary with regard to the food import bill that we grow more of our own food. There was a buy local campaign, but there's still limited output from the farming sector because there are so many constraints with regard to agriculture. So Riyad Mohammed would have sent this piece to the Business Guardian, and we published it, and he has put about bullet points essentially and listing what can be done to help the agriculture sector.
Pete, I want to thank you. Great coverage today, and to you and the entire team, thank you so much for another impactful Business Guardian. All the best.
Same to you, man, and all the best to Trinidad and Tobago again.
Peter Christopher, my colleague, my good friend, touching base with us. We're going to transition immediately into our Police and News segment. Officer Russell joins me live on set after the break.
Looking for a smart way to grow your savings? For just a limited time, the Trinidad and Tobago Police Credit Union is offering competitive fixed deposit rates of up to 4%. That's up to 4% guaranteed when you invest with PCU Fixed Deposit. Visit any of our locations in Barataria, Arima, San Fernando, or Tobago to get started today. For more details, visit policecreditunion.com or call us at 6124-PCU. PCU, your future is safe with us.
This isn't just a pickup. This is the 4-ton Tunlon V9.
Power when you need it.
Efficiency when it matters.
Smart Tech, total control.
Built to haul, built to handle. The Tunlon V9 doesn't back down. Built for the long haul, designed for real work.
The all-new Photon Tunland V9 delivers power, intelligent 4x4 capability, and modern tech all in one pickup.
Come and test drive yours today at LaFast Motors.
Struggling with blood sugar swings, high blood pressure, or stiff joints? Take control with Aja Nutrition's powerful wellness trio. Berberine Plus supports healthy blood sugar. Blood pressure support helps keep your pressure in check. And Joint Aid keeps your joints moving so you can stay active every day. Don't wait. Choose Aja Nutrition for trusted, effective solutions. Available at Pennywise and leading pharmacies nationwide. Feel better, move better, live better with Aja Nutrition.
The gripping crime series Suspects comes to your screen. New episodes, new cases, from murders to missing persons, drug overdoses, and sex crimes. Raw, real, riveting. Suspects takes you inside the Metropolitan Police as they fight for justice in London. Don't miss Suspects, only on CNC3.
This is more than just music. This is where you find the best of TNT. This is more than just a vibe. This is where Bollywood gets a twist. This is more than just energy. This is Bhangra and indie pop too. This is the mix. This is the life. Lock on or log on now. Sangeet 106.1 FM. This is authentic East Indian radio. This is us.
Officer Russell with me on set to treat with the latest installment of Police and You. And Officer Russell, I saw the developments over the weekend. My man ran on you immediately because I'm saying to myself, you know, we sit here and we really try our best to dissect and to uplift. And I know clearly there's way more light compared to the darkness within the service. But when the darkness comes to bear, it comes to bear in a most brutal manner. And I guess this brings to question screening, vetting, continued, I would imagine, processes to ensure that we have the best and brightest really in place to do the job. Good morning to you, officer.
Good morning, Mr. Williams. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago, on behalf of the Commissioner of Police, Deputy Commissioners, Assistant Commissioners, and First and Second Division Officers of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. I hear you on that, and we too will have to revisit some of our policies and the way we our vetting process when it comes to allowing officers, not only whether municipal or transit or in special reserve or the regular Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, because you would understand that there are different arms of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. Parliament have their own police as well that wear grey and blue as well. And what I want to say is that police officers come from the fabric of society. So it goes deeper into that when somebody could really allegedly look at, when you look at the facts, and it's alleged because you understand, I mean, it's no secret that the officer has been charged or will be charged for murder of his own colleague, which is somebody he would have worked with over a period of time. And it is it speaks to what is really going on to the society. It speaks to a deeper rooted problem in society as it comes to the moral upbringing and values and this greed and this thirst that we have to achieve everything overnight. Yeah. This greed, this love of money that we have, which was even spoken about in the Bible.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost, I keep on using the word unprecedented and really mind-blowing, and obviously a police station would have been breached. What's in place to ensure that never happens again? And more so, while you answer that, what's the best practice when it comes to a charge room and who mans a station? Because up to yesterday, someone called from Cedros and said that there's only one person at times in the Cedros police station, and this is, I mean, yes, it's country, it's down to the end of Trinidad, but I trying to figure out if one officer to a station, is that something, well, is that normal?
Each station, each division has a strength. The number of officers assigned, the number of officers assigned to the shift. Now, if you have a shift with 3 persons and one person take one day sick or has an emergency, we are now left in a position where there are only 2 persons. You can't really send one person on patrol, so you now have to call on your neighboring district stations to assist, whether it's to send personnel to help you with your strength or to do the patrols in your area while you guard the government arms and ammunition. It's not to say other officers weren't there. They were in the building at the point in time, but some of them may have been on rest because some of the tours are 14, 16 hours straight. No one could work that, and even in our regulations, you're entitled to a period of rest time. So it's not to say that the women police were there alone. They may have had an arrangement. Officers were upstairs. Some of them were taking their rest. Maybe they were supposed to come down and relieve. I mean, the investigation is ongoing, so I don't want to harp too much on it at this point in time. But of course, we will revisit our policies and we will do our best to ensure that things like this does not happen again. We have heard all sorts of suggestions and ideas coming from members of the public, and whilst we welcome it, it may not be best suited for us, you know, and we ask the public as we continue, because we retrieved 43 firearms and over 900 rounds of assorted ammunition, and as we continue to work diligently and daily, increasing our operational visibility, shaking all the trees to put it in our anti-gang crime initiative to suppress that violence and stuff like that, we will continue to press on the ground until we get back each and every firearm.
Officer Russell, what's the distinction within the service that separates municipal police from regular police compared to, let's say, SRP, and you know would have mentioned parliamentary police? So, because first the public, but we see grey, we see grey and blue. Yes, that's police. We it's not marked municipal, or we're not looking for SRP on a man shoulder. If I see you pull up in khaki, you're grey and blue. You know, you straighten up, because to the regular man and woman out, that's police.
Before we go on to the courier stuff, because I know this is a trending topic, because even when the director, the producer called me yesterday, she was coming down this line. I tried to avoid this line because the commissioner is who's really speaking about this, and I don't want to speak for him, but I would prefer speak after him. But just to enlighten persons, the whole training and the entrance process is different. The TTPS is, of course, more rigorous. Training is longer. Going down the road, we are directly under the commissioner. With respect to and that's the TTPS as well as the Special Reserve, and even though they are directly under the commissioner as well, their training is shorter than the regulars. We have the situation where with municipal, they are hired either by the corporation or by the local government. So their practices are different. As same thing with Parliament Police, same thing with Transit Police. Everybody's under different head based on their specific function. So not everybody will have. There's some of the training that will overlap. Your drills, your firearms, certain basic policing duties, but your functions are different.
Will that also include, let's say, K9 and then mounted branch and all that too?
No, well, most of the K9 and mounted branch, they are regular sections alongside us. So so it's a regular police officer will go to K9 and mounted branch, but then they will teach you either to ride a horse or to how to treat with the dogs. What type of dog you may be treating with, whether it's cadaver dog, whether it's gun dog, whether it's narcotic dog.
Well, let me tell you, it's a big learning curve, because many, including myself, kind of hearing this for the first time.
And I can understand that.
Because you see the uniform, you tell it's a police. I always thought municipal police would have been regular police who was just sent to treat with the, well, whether it's a borough, because I've seen municipal police stations. Well, of course, there's one right there at City Hall, the one in South. There's one by the corporation in Sawon. They are the ones that can keep the quasi on order.
As well as Trinidad and Tobago, they could look at the numerals on their shoulder, and you would see TTMP. You would see
it's actually there?
Yeah, you would see different wording on there. But how do you see SRP with the Special Reserve and TTPS with the regular police officers? Look at their appellates, and you would see what is there.
Thanks
but we're here to talk about careers.
Well, of course. But you know, I mean, this was
topic of interest at heart.
Yeah, this was one that we just wanted a little clarity. And I mean,
but I want to say to Trinidad and Tobago, we would not give up on you. We continue to do our best, and you know, we ask that. First, and I believe in prayer, so we ask that you continue to pray for us as we go down the road. Within recent times, we saw quite a few couriers being robbed when they go on their deliveries.
And the funny thing is, most of these couriers now, they actually have signs marked, no cash on board. Right? But you see people too, especially the couriers that deliver online goods, people are able to mark. Now, they will not be marked, but they see a white van, and sometimes people pull up random places to receive the items. I don't know if the criminal elements.
And this is what we want to
do in the surveillance.
This is what we want to guard against as well, because we want to give some tips to the business owners, especially when it comes to high-end courier drivers, because there have been situations where the courier drivers themselves are involved.
You serious?
Yes.
What?
This is Trinidad and Tobago, you know.
The courier men setting up the scene?
There have been instances like that. So we ask that for the business owners that they vet their couriers as best as possible, look for recommendations, ask for a certificate of good character. We ask that you have references from them. We ask that you set up your business in a way that is minimal or no cash transaction. Have GPS on your vehicle. Have a protocol in place where you maintain conversation and communication with your couriers through some kind of dispatching system and stuff like that. Be careful of shady deals. And to the courier drivers, we ask that you be on the alert as well. Don't allow anybody to just change your location on you just like that. If you have a gut instinct, follow your gut. Follow your feelings. If you feel uncomfortable in a situation, ask that you meet in the police station. Because sometimes, notwithstanding you may not have cash on you, you may have valuables, you may have your wedding ring, or a gold chain, or a nice watch. And they are not afraid to take that from you. If you're going to make a delivery and at last minute the person just changes the location or continuously changing the location, that's a red flag. If you're going into an area, we ask that you go into an area when you park, well, keep your doors locked, number one, until you're ready to do that handover. And if you realize the area that you're going into looks like a one-way in, one-way out, you could feel free to communicate and say, listen, I'm not comfortable here. Meet me by the nearest station or meet me out in the roadway, because of course you'll have that number for that person, because you're looking out for them, they're looking out for you. You have to really ensure that you are safe and that you can return home to your family. So we ask that you do your due diligence, you be aware, and the business owners, we asking that even if you could have somebody accompany the delivery driver on their way. So you know, there's an old saying in the defense force, 2 is 1 and 1 is none. You know, so we just asking that we follow some basic safety protocols. Of course, have all emergency numbers on hand, especially the police station. So it would be wise and incumbent on the courier as well as the business owner, if you're sending your courier out to do a delivery, that you know, right, today he's operating in the Western Division. It takes you nothing to just sit on your phone and pull up the numbers for St. James, Four Roads, West End, Caronade, so that he has the numbers there at his fingertips and is not searching for it should something happen.
So for those who might do the delivery, let's say, I've seen many a courier pull up by office buildings. I mean, people develop a relationship with the said courier, so they pull up in the car park and multiple people will come out at a given time, people swiping the card, getting the box, going back in happy like papi. Is that advised, that kind of, because again, if it's one thing we know the criminal element do, they also do the surveillance and they run the record, they mark you. And I'm trying to figure out, you know, where's the best place really to conduct the business?
There is nothing such as a best place, but there is the least risk.
Least risk, right?
You can do target hardening, put up the most amount of bulletproof windows, burglar-proof and stuff like that. But at some point in time, if you're away from home long enough, somebody could take a sledgehammer to your walls. You could put all the anti-theft devices on your vehicle. What if somebody's using a wrecker to wreck and take your vehicle? Plenty of those vehicles that have been wrecked, and they move.
Yeah, they move, yeah.
You know, so it's about really making yourself a harder target, whether it's the business or the career. That is what it is about. I mean, I too will have witnessed the couriers go into business places like government buildings and everybody come along. And to me, that is a safe zone because 99% of the government buildings, they have security. And a lot of the times they're going to deliver multiple packages, so their persons are wrong, and then people understand it's cash, it's non-cash transactions, so they come in with the cards and stuff like that. So that is one of the safer means, and most of those deliveries are done in daylight. Probably in the morning between 10 and 2. 10 a.m. and 2 p.m.
They're not tackling any food people do, because are they? Have you heard any reports about the tackling mostly couriers? Because I know there are people who also will deliver food via the apps and all that.
It's mostly couriers.
Mostly couriers.
We have had instances where delivery drivers were robbed, whether it be from different fast food outlets. I wouldn't want to give anybody any free advertising, but there have been situations.
So they rob them the food, the chicken,
any money.
And the money too, yes, because yes, they collecting money.
Yeah, because remember too, when you call, they would ask you how you're paying for this delivery, cash or card.
But isn't the payment? No, yes, it's true. You have to you could pay the driver, yes,
cash or card. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that's where it reached to.
Yes, so they would hear some like there are certain fast food restaurants, they don't deliver in certain areas because of what transpired before they would have learned from previous incidents.
Well, as always, I'll give you the final say, Officer Russell, as we look to wrap things up this morning.
Well, Trinidad and Tobago, I want to assure you that the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, we took an oath and we maintain, we will continue with our responsibility to make Trinidad and Tobago safe. Yes, we are facing some issues. We ask that you pray for us. All religious bodies, as a matter of fact, because we need that covering, that health and strength, and most of all, we need your support. So we still encourage you, if you see something, say something, and whatever information you have, that you pass it on to us. We wish you a wonderful day today and a safe and happy weekend.
That's right, yeah, we endorse that, and I want to thank you again for taking the time and for treating with the issues head on. Because, we must treat with it, and I guess we have learned a lot this morning in terms of, I didn't even realize you can actually see. I should have known that all these years, but I guess, you just see the uniform, looking for the finer details now.
And that is where it comes in, because in a situation like this, nobody's making the differentiation, and they are our brothers in arms. So whereas we know that there's a differentiation, we would still consider them our brothers in arms. So we too would want to kind of refrain from that. As the Vice President of the association, we have some representation for the municipal police as well. So, we understand that they are brothers in arms, even though their induction training may be a bit different.
As always, Officer Russell, sincere thanks. Let's get ready for the 7 a.m. news update. Much more after 7. See you soon.
Can you do this?
With an Answer Bank in-one home mortgage, you enjoy as low as 5% down payment, up to 3 years insurance, refinancing available, expert guidance brewed right. Banking that feels like home. Answer Bank. Switch to a new way of banking. Refinance with an Answer Bank in-one mortgage and enjoy as low as 5% down payment, up to 3 years insurance, expert guidance. Let the perfect mix feel like home. Answer Bank. Switch to a new way of banking.
Start your day with a smile that shines. Introducing Vico Vagradante Herbal Toothpaste, formulated for a deep clean and lasting freshness. Packed with whitening power, it removes stains, protects, and prevents against cavities, so your smile stays healthy and radiant. Available in fennel, cinnamon, and the sugar-free flavors. Agents Modern Caribbean Enterprises Limited. Available at all Pennywise stores, pharmacies, supermarkets, and cosmetic counters. Look for our logo on genuine Vico products.
Introducing the new Sun Mix Nut Bar. Available in 3 delicious flavors: granola raisin nut, almond cranberry crunch, and coconut almond crisp. All packed on a rich bed of dark chocolate.
Taste the good life, snack right. Taste the good life anytime. The good life. Sun Mix.
Sunshine Snacks Sun Mix Nut Bar. Taste the good life.
This is more than just music. This is where you find the best of TNT.
This is
more than just a vibe. This is where Bollywood gets a twist. This is more than just energy. This is Bhangra and indie pop too. This is the mix. This is the life. Lock on or log on now. Sangeet 106.1 FM. This is authentic East Indian radio. This is us.
Good morning and welcome. I'm Jesse Ramde with headline news here on CNC3 and the TBC Radio Network. One person remains in police custody and is assisting with investigations into the attempted disposal of over 50 bodies at the Komuto Cemetery. According to a statement from the police service, no charges have been laid as inquiries are ongoing. The TTPS also confirms that investigators executed several search warrants at multiple locations as part of the continuing investigation on Wednesday. Among those expected to assist police with interviews are representatives of the Sangre Grande Regional Corporation. Last Saturday, 2 individuals were caught attempting to bury 56 bodies. Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar said she was advised that the bodies at the Komuto Cemetery were unclaimed bodies which were being improperly disposed of and not victims of homicide. In other news, the Estate Police Association is criticizing the Prime Minister's response to the killing of Municipal Police Officer Anushka Eversley, calling her statement disappointing. Richardson said the Prime Minister's attempt to distinguish between a Trinidad and Tobago Police Service officer and TNT Municipal Police Service personnel creates an impression that she was seeking to diminish the role and value of municipal police. Hours after the brutal murder, the Prime Minister said the incident at the San Fernando Municipal Police Station was not an external attack on national security forces, but an internal breach within the TTMPS. She emphasized that the TTPS is separate from the TTMPS and its officers were not involved. Richardson, however, insists municipal officers carry the same responsibilities and expectations as TTPS officers, warning that the response risks undermining confidence among both municipal and state police. And the son of murdered businessman Danny Guerra is once again in police custody. Garvin Aaron Guerra is among 16 people detained under preventative detention orders. Police say he's linked to the Six Gang and believed to have helped plan retaliatory shootings in Valencia, Sangre Grande, and nearby areas. It's the second time he's been held under a PDO. This time, he was arrested in Tobago. 50-year-old Danny Guerra, the owner of DG Homes, was shot dead on March 13th. His relatives, including his eldest son, 28 years of age, were forced to miss the funeral after receiving death threats. Last year, both father and son were detained under PDOs for alleged gang activity and a reported plot to kill Government Minister Wayne Sturge. The latest detention orders were signed by Homeland Security Minister Roger Alexander between March 18th and April 15th. Well, those were 7am News headlines. We'll have another news update at 8 a.m. on the TBC Radio Network.
Welcome to the second hour, and in studio live, coming to treat with this very important conversation, Shamfa Kojo. She is, of course, putting herself up for the Tobago Council leadership, and we would have had discussions with her opponent earlier this week. He would have mentioned the interactions and the momentum going into this Sunday's election, about 9,000 from what he would have mentioned, the electorate, and indeed the leadership position is there. We want to wish, same way I would have wished him the best, I want to wish you a sincere, all the best going into this weekend's election. And I want to say thank you so much for taking the extra effort to be here with me live this morning, Shamfa. Great to see you.
Thank you very much, Jason. It's an absolute pleasure. Good morning to you. Good morning to the CNC3 family. Good morning to Tobago and Trinidad and Tobago.
Once given the nod, once the electorates decide, you know what, we want to go with you this weekend, what will be your first order of business? What's the working plan to bring that confidence back to the Tobago Council and by extension Tobago as it pertains to, your push in this space?
Right. One of the biggest issues we're dealing with in our party is restoring trust in the People's National Movement, and I would add uniting the membership. Restoring trust is about keeping your word, be honoring your debts, because we do owe some people for services provided, and it's about raising the funds to make sure that you can cover those debts and make peace with those people who we've been owing for some time. Restoring trust speaks to keeping your word, and listening. Listening is important if you're to unite the party. There are many persons who feel unseen, unheard, they don't feel valued, and we ought to make it our business. I am going to make it my business to provide a direct link, direct access through public days. Just whatever I did for my constituency when I served as MP, I'm willing to do for the People's National Movement Tobago Council, so that the average Joe could come and meet with the political leader. I can hear his cries and treat with it. It's about showing up. It's about listening. It's about engaging, and most importantly, acting to resolve the matter. Because oftentimes as politicians, a person sits and like, yes, we listen, but then after the listening, what? It's about the willingness to act, and I think that's where my strength is, in engaging with people. For many years, I've served, for roughly 15 years, I've served as a frontline politician in the People's National Movement. I came in as the lone Tobago voice, the opposition senator from 2010 to 2015. At that time, we didn't have any seat in the House, and it was my duty to make sure Tobago has a voice, and people see the Tobago Council of the PNM as attractive once again. And then we won. Thereafter, we won the 2 seats in 2015. So for me, it's about advocacy, it's about representation, it's about listening, serving, and delivering to the people. I've served as the MP for the last 10 years. Forming bonds and connections with the grassroots, with people at all levels of the party. I think what I bring to the fore is leadership at the highest levels of government, and being able to understand the heartbeat of the people due to my time. And the thing is that my leadership stint didn't start as an MP. From very young, I was the president of the Tobago Youth Council, Tobago's CARICOM Youth Ambassador. I've developed programs that help people, because it's not only about title, it's about impact. And during my time as a member of parliament, it's about I was focused on ensuring that whatever is delivered in Trinidad through programs is also delivered in Tobago, like Empower TT, helping men who are unemployed and have lost their way to get back on track and get training and find jobs. Boss Lady Project, where we work with unemployed women, developing skills and leading them to entrepreneurship and giving them the money so that they can start a host of programs. I have been involved in policy development when I was a worker, a technical officer in the Tobago House of Assembly. So it's a deep connection with the people through my professional work, my personal relationship with members of the party and the general Tobago public. So I think I'm uniquely positioned to make that transition and lead. Indeed, the record is there. I want to ask, that's right, as it pertains to, you mentioned that lone Tobago voice at the time, and I want to kind of lean into that. Right now, there's from what I've noticed, a kind of Tobago-centric, a Tobago frequency that is very strong on the Sister Isle. And we would have seen PDP's entrance. They have transitioned now into, well, TPP has come out of that, and this kind of Tobago first
we boy kind of scenario, leadership style. And I guess some of the concerns is that even though you, Kelvon, many are indigenous, you are proud Tobago. It's in your heart and soul. Many believe some of the instructions still come from Port of Spain. How do you create that separation and ensure the 9,000 and by extension all of Tobago that this is a Tobago-centric momentum going into this PNM Tobago Council?
We dealt with that matter in 1998. In 1998, we created the Tobago Council of the People's National Movement. If you recognize, we have a slightly different logo. So
it's a separation, in a layman's term, is that a full separation from the Balize House instructions of Port of Spain?
There are no instructions coming to us from Port of Spain. The Tobago Council manages its own business, chooses its own candidates, its own policy, its own program.
So you stand separate?
We are separate in that regard. To the point that the position of deputy political leader, from the time you become a political leader in the Tobago Council, you are automatically deputy political leader of the People's National Movement, whether the sitting leader likes you or not. Yes? So the Tobago Council stands strong, stands solid, and stands autonomous in the handling of Tobago people's business. There are no instructions coming from Balize House. That is nonsense. That's foolish rhetoric, and it serves our political opponents to give Tobagonians that kind of impression. But if you're in the People's National Movement and have seen how the People's National Movement has worked over the years, and even looking at the transition, we were in opposition for a long time, and we did our homework, hearing what the Tobago people wanted and needed. And it is in that vein we created the Tobago Council, which is still alive and well to this day. We're having our own election, and nobody in Port of Spain can tell us what to do. We run our own business. We have our own party groups, our own women's leagues, our own disciplinary committee, own membership committee, you name it. It is a full structure lineup alongside the Tobago House of Assembly, and there is nobody instructing us or who could try to instruct. They could try, but in the Tobago Council of the People's National Movement, we man in we own yard, we mind our own business, and we operate in the best interest of the people of Tobago.
Glad for the clarity, because that would have been a concern with some callers and many who, because I always try to be that conduit between the people and, of course, folks like yourself. So I'm happy that you're able to bring that clarity. So I guess that is sorted out. But as you walk the ground, as you walk through, because I know you would have mentioned what you plan to do to bring that particular momentum back, but as you walk the ground, what are some of the major concerns? And this is not only for the election this weekend, but just generally in the Tobago space at this point in time. Is there any kind of momentum? What's the feeling on the ground right now in the space?
I think first and foremost, people are excited to see the People's National Movement repositioning itself to do the hard work once again and to be that voice of the people. Because having no representation in the Tobago House of Assembly is a real challenge for the people on the ground. There's nobody to ask questions, to object, to question, to offer crafty and useful criticism. And it's not just criticizing for criticizing's sake, it's doing what is in the best interest of the people. I am heartened by the excitement. We even did a membership drive, getting persons to sign on, and in a matter of 2 weeks we brought in over 500 persons who are willing, who signed up to join the People's National Movement. There are persons who say, here now, I can't fill out the form because there is some pettiness happening at the level of the THA, I don't want to lose my job, that type of thing. But generally people are excited again, and when I walk, there are persons saying, I am glad you are in the race. And I had withheld my support over the years, but you see, you are coming out to support you. To the point that yesterday I walked in some communities in Tobago East, and the members are saying, we're coming out and we're voting you, I'm going back home. And I say, no, you have 16 other positions being offered. Please go through, choose wisely who is best fit for the job, not necessarily a slate. I don't believe in the slate system, because I think slates divide us. And you want everybody to feel a part, to feel at home, to be able to have access to making decisions in the party so we can truly reunite and work again. So that's why I'm offering myself independently. I want all members to judge each position, each candidate based on their ability to work, to deliver, and truly reunite the party, and not vote for people because we are a group of friends. You know, so I'm saying the election has created much excitement in Tobago and given people a sense of hope. And I'm happy that by offering myself for leadership, so many persons have chosen to come on board and renew their love for the People's National Movement. So I await to see what happens on Sunday.
What's been the tone and tenor so far of the election?
The tone and tenor has been a decent campaign. For me, I keep my campaign clean. From day one, the party cannot handle any more division. So I am not about mudslinging or ill-speaking my challenger, my colleague, who on next week, Monday, we have to work together if we are serious about reuniting the party and getting back to a place of leadership in the political space in Tobago. So I have even opened up my platform. Last week, Monday, when I started my cottage meetings, I said, candidates who are independent, you're free to come, walk with me, free to come and speak on my platform because my people are your people and your people are my people. You know, I've invited Kelvin and his team and they've been coming, and on Sunday I went to his meeting in Wim and I listened, and you know, it's about that kind of relationship and harmony that's important, because Tobagonians, especially the PNMites, we have dealt with so much trauma as it relates to one, losing so many times, and two, the divisiveness within the party. You have different cliques and groupings and so on, and we've had enough of that. For me, it's about unity, it's about love, listening, and taking our party to where it needs to go.
You think, and this is more or less a second to last question before we look to wrap things up, in terms of TPP's momentum and that stronghold, once the work is done now, you think you have enough time to tap into what's going on to shift the reality of Tobago? Because obviously there's a THA election 4 years from now and there's a general election also carded. So I would imagine part of your vision must be towards those two dates. What's the game plan without going into the intimate details?
We have to fix our house first. We have to be respectful and trustworthy to our own members first. You have to fix your house first. You have to unite the party first before you go out there to try to win anything. As the old people say, a house divided against itself cannot stand. So we must be serious about the uniting process, and that is why running a clean campaign is so important. Of course, setting up the party groups, modernizing the movement, succession planning for the young people, very important towards setting up ourselves or preparing for election. Once again, restoring that true spirit of democracy, not only in the party, but having people, the average Tobagonian, have that respect for true democracy so that we can have a clean, fair process once again.
As we wrap things up, I'll give you the final moments here to talk directly to the electorate there as to your leadership and the potential that lies within that leadership come Sunday and beyond.
To all of you here in Trinidad and Tobago, and more so the electorate in Tobago, I bring you experience, I bring you strength and compassion, I bring you discipline and humility. I've been right there with you over the years, and I am ready to work, ready to lead, and ready to extend to you the support and the leadership that you so deserve. Let's keep the campaign clean, let's respect one another, let's tell our truth. Tell the truth, because truth is very important to restoring trust. Let's restore respect and unity in our party. Once again, come out on Sunday and vote in every single position for the person who is best suited. It's not about personalities, it's about preparedness, readiness to stand up and fight for Tobagonians and to reunite our party once again. So I stand here, your humble servant, as I have always been, ready to work, ready to lead in love, ready to unite and set us up to win again.
Shampa, all the best on Sunday.
Thank you very much, Jason. Thanks, CNC3. I appreciate it.
Of course, you're most welcome. We will do our coverage, and indeed on Monday we will have a chance to dissect all that transpires over the weekend, and we wish all the candidates going forward the very best. Up next, Mental Health Matters, right here. Johanse joins us for another impactful conversation.
Bank in-one home mortgage you enjoy as low as 5% down payment, up to 3 years insurance, refinancing available, expert guidance brewed right. Banking that feels like home. Answer Bank. Switch to a new way of banking. Refinance with an Answer Bank in-one mortgage and enjoy as low as 5% down payment, up to 3 years insurance, expert guidance. Let the perfect mix feel like home. Answer Bank. Switch to a new way of banking.
Step into ABC Doors and Windows, where quality meets variety. Discover premium wooden, steel panel, fiberglass, and steel security doors alongside aluminum, UPVC, and steel windows designed for strength and durability. At ABC, we're always a better choice, delivering products built to last and service you can rely on. Visit our showroom at 1 Chanka Trace, El Socorro South, or call 638-7184 to make your dream home a reality. Visit Tire Clinic Marketing, New Truck and OTR Tire Service Center at number 30 and 32 Montrose Main Road, Chabonas. Call today at 665-8973 or 672-3419. Alignment services available. Tire Clinic Marketing, Truck and OTR Service Center. A tire for every need.
Ready to engineer your future? Join the Association of Professional Engineers of Trinidad and Tobago for the Technical Conference Tuesday, May 12th and Wednesday 13th at the Hyatt Regency. Discover cutting-edge solutions shaping our Caribbean future. Hear from leading international, regional, and local experts with over 20 dynamic presentations. Engineers, students, professionals, this is your space. APET Technical Conference 2026. Sustainable, smart, and resilient.
Magical Expressions Limited is the largest local importer and distributor of fresh cut stems, offering the widest range of beautiful flowers at the most affordable prices. Call us today at 701-6488 or visit our website to order.
Johanse Ayodike joins me today on the Zoom line to continue with our anger series. We started on this most important discussion last week, and I'm happy that we're having a part two. So much of the country, people are angry, they are livid. People go from 0 to 100, Johanse, in a split second. And more so when they get to that place of anger, I've found within recent time the rhetoric always seems to be one of total elimination of the person, the source of the anger. So you're hearing arguments like, I go kill you, you were dead, you go dead now. People go down that road once. I don't know if you have seen it, if you have heard it, but people tend to go to the most extreme, and it's just a little misunderstanding, and I try to figure out if it's a dark cloud over the country, if it's part of the trauma of crime and criminality and the lawlessness that exists in the space, why we get to this place of anger, and why in that place of anger we are looking to totally eliminate. We want to remove from the earth this source of our frustration and anger. Or if it's just people, I don't know, if you think people just talking out of their head, I'll give you a chance to expand, you and say, welcome.
Well, no, morning, Jason, morning to everybody. All right, so a simple definition for anger is wanting to eliminate reality, a certain aspect of reality, because you can't accept it, right? If somebody's a certain way and I wish they were something else, but I don't have the power to change them, I will use force. If there's a certain situation, whether it is work, home, out in the street, whatever, if I don't like it and I want to change it, most times it's force comes to mind instead of acceptance. So when I don't like something and I want to change it by force, means I want to eliminate it, right? Now, putting it that way because many times anger is something that builds up over time. So if you see somebody react like that, most likely it may not be that specific situation. It could be small things leading up to this.
So again, it goes back to, I guess, people walking around with frustration, probably childhood trauma for all you know, because again, I wonder, children who are on the receiving end of lots of harsh treatment, verbally, physically, I sometimes wonder what happens to that adult. What happens to that child when they become an adult? I think it's two directions you could go. You could remove yourself and take a whole different direction, because you don't want to put somebody through what you went through, or you could end up being the same way, using that kind of force. And I see lots of people, adults, going around. You could tell that something was amiss when they were small, because I mean, we're talking like super hard, no empathy, like just angry. Where that come from? We live on an island?
That's a good point, because sometimes it's important to identify who the anger is geared towards or what it is. I'll give you an example. Sometimes there are people who bring in their spouse, bring in children, saying that they have an anger management issue. That's the word they use, anger management issue. And they say, well, this person, they can't control the anger. Now, so making that statement, I would ask, so that means the person angry all the time, but they can't control it. They say, no, well, many times when they're dealing with me, right? They can't control the anger. Many times it's in school or some specific scenario, they can't handle the anger. Now, identifying it that way, because it's not that somebody necessarily have an anger management issue, because if that was true, then they'd be angry all the time. That means there's certain scenarios they're angry in, and to identify that. So let's just say, and using now, it could be childhood trauma, it could be trauma in general, it could be even a perspective on life that causing you. Let's just say you think, I just give an example. Every young person is supposed to say good morning to you, right? Or say good morning. And you're walking down the street and young people passing in the school uniform and nobody to say morning, nobody telling you good morning. You know, because of that view or perspective on life, you know, holding anger and resentment. I just give an example towards young people, but everybody have their different perceptions of reality, right? Now, when some people cannot accept that how they view the world is not that, so then they become angry. So it's not necessarily sometimes something wrong with the world. Sometimes I wouldn't even say something wrong with you, but your perception don't line up with what actually happening.
It's true. What about those who, like people who provoke you, people who get a rise, they know what buttons to push. We see that a lot of times in relationships, whether it be parent-child, intimate relationships, and you find yourself, you love this person, you know, you check for them, you blow up, and then 5 minutes after you're normal again. Is that healthy? Because we see that a lot of times in family, you know, big cuss out, and then 10 minutes after, everybody hug up, and that's why they say sometimes you don't get involved in family affairs, you don't get involved in man and woman business. Walk me through in a nutshell. I know that's a big talking point, we could talk on that for hours, but is that something normal?
I don't know if it's normal, use the word versus common, because it depends. Now, I'm not condoning provocation, right? Because provocation in itself is highly unhealthy, because the person doing the provoking could always say, I didn't make you do this, because when the other person reacts, they could say, well, I didn't make you do this, is you choose to do this. But they were provoking you. But there's always a reason for the provocation. Now, everybody is different, so then I can't really make a blanket reason to say this is it. But what I could say generally is people provoke because they want to get a certain response. And the certain responses for many different reasons, because sometimes, I just give an example, some of the reasons that I have encountered, let's say in a romantic relationship, you're not getting a reaction from the person, right, that you feel significant. You're doing nice things, you ain't getting it, right? So eventually you do something provoking and the person reacts. So at least, yeah, boy, this person's still in the relationship, right? As weird as it may seem, sometimes children do things to provoke because the attention that they want, they're not getting. But when they do something wrong, the principal, teacher, mommy, everybody coming in to give them the attention. So I'm not condoning the behavior of provocation, but there's usually something deep and underlying behind it.
Let me ask, and I want to be very frank with the question, what can one do to calm down, to tone down if you're finding yourself bubbling over with anger? What's a exercise someone can do in the moment to just remove themselves from a very volatile situation? You feel the anger coming on, you're about to get into some harsh language or react in a certain way, but you want to be better then, and you want to kind of remove yourself from always snapping. What can one do, you want to say?
I'll give two, and this is not perfect explanation, but two that I've seen work with people is, one is to tell yourself that you're not a slave to other people, right? Because most times anger is something that you can become a slave to. Sometimes, again, even provocation. It means that the person have control over you, right? And in Trinidad terms, the person can chain you up easy. You're a slave to them. So telling yourself, I am not a slave, right, is fine. Also, saying that it's okay to be angry, but it's not okay to put myself in trouble because of my anger. So I'm not telling you to suppress your anger, right, because it's human. But telling yourself it's okay for me to be angry, but don't get myself in trouble. Because many people say, I want to be angry, angry, I don't want to suppress it. But after they do whatever it is, now they regret. So they say, I regret getting angry. I should not get angry, So it's not that you should not have gotten angry. You should have gotten angry. But it's what you did with it. And that's the part. So if you keep telling yourself, it's okay to be angry, which kind of gives relief, but it's not good to get myself in trouble.
Is there any kind of breathing exercise? Yeah, you can take a deep breath and you kind of walk away. I don't know.
Classic breathing exercise. But okay, I'll give one because this works for anxiety also, but it can work for anger. When you get angry, as funny as it may sound, say the alphabet backwards. Right? If you say the alphabet backwards, the brain power it takes for most people to try to say the alphabet backwards, you'll forget. Yeah, at least somebody anger will go down. Not all, right? If it's too much, they can't control yourself. Just that Z, Y, X. What come after that again? And time you start to think about that, somebody anger will eliminate.
Excellent. Well, you answer as always. Sincere thanks. A great discussion, and I'm guided by the council as always, man. Have a great one.
We can make it a 3-part. We could do one more part in anger.
Definitely. Well, you answer all the best, Thanks a lot as always, man. You have the final say.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody viewing.
Yes, man. You want to say IODK Mental Health Matters. Well, up next, we're going to transition into the morning shot with Ian Wason. And clearly, some champions are in the building. I'm seeing trophies galore, kind of individual trophy, collective trophy. Ian is going to touch base with some amazing winners. Is this the netball squad? Yes, who mash up everybody in the spec recently? Oh my goodness. Yeah, the young champions, they're in the building, and Ian Wason is gonna get a beautiful discussion with them, and we'll get a chance to see all the trophies. Well done to the junior netball TNT squad, making major headway in that recently concluded tournament. Tomorrow I'll be back with you for more, but Ian, up next for the morning shot. Stick around.
Spring is here and your garden's ready for a glow up. The Vega Garden Center sale runs April 24th to May 3rd. Get 20% off all plants, soil, pots, and fertilizer at both our San Fernando and Grand Cooper branches every day, including weekends. Whether you're refreshing your balcony, revamping your yard, or creating a jungle indoors, we're talking bougainvillas, ZZ plants, calatheas, a wide variety of crotons, orchids, bromeliads, palms, herbs, ground cover, and more. The Vega Spring Sale. Let's grow something beautiful together.
You can make your goals unfold, go get it. You can live your dream, join the team, let's do this. believe that you can achieve. Big goals, small ones too. Brand Credit Union, we've got you. No more waiting, that won't do. Make someday today. One life, so make it good. Live the way you know you should. With Brand Credit Union, yes you could. Make someday today.
Live your best life today with Rand Credit Union.
Parents will do it, they'll go to work, have a day, bro, and come on and take that stress out on you.
Welcome to another episode of Manhood.
Everybody will do what they need to do to get what they want.
And if they can't fit in to the norms, then what they have to do, they'll survive.
Not everybody wants to kill me because I might be all kind of thing, but I think I'm a good person.
The aspect of a mentor seeing something in you that you can't see in yourself.
Check yourself, because you shaped that generation.
Are we losing in many ways the values?
Since I have this Parkinson's diagnosis, there's a group, a very small group, type group, who will always look after me.
Get the story first. Want to know what's happening in news, sports, or crime? Get the CNC3 app. As the story breaks, CNC3 is there giving you the story first on your mobile device. Be connected to the most trusted and reliable news source, CNC3. Access your world with just a tap. The CNC3 app. Download it today.
Sportsmanship is when an athlete walks off the court and you can't tell if he won or lost because he carries himself with pride either way. This quote is an embodiment of sport, and for me, sport is an embodiment of life. We are where you are.
Alejandro, you're still alive.
Mr. Alejandro! Mrs. Lucia! Mrs. Lucia, come quick, Mr.
Alejandro! My goodness! You're so... Sophia!
Don't miss the gripping drama Cabo. Sundays at 8 p.m. only on CNC3. This season, Ask the Doctor is at a new time. It's your weekly prescription for trusted medical advice. In the Doctor's Capsule, Dr. Tilak Singh breaks down big health topics clearly and simply. Get a dose of smiles in the Kiddies Capsule as our youngest experts share health tips with heart. Explore the science behind the headlines in Medical Minds, featuring real doctors, real insight, and your questions matter. Join the open forum live and get answers straight from the source. Ask the Doctor, every Thursday at 8 p.m. only on CNC3.
Good morning and welcome to the Morning Shot Now. Thank you for staying with us as we talk sport up to the hour of 8 o'clock. And this morning we are talking about a bit of cricket. Of course, the Trinidad and Tobago Red Forces match with the Leeward Islands Hurricanes which was abandoned on Tuesday after an unfit pitch. So and we'll also talk, and Jason already spilled the beans, we're going to meet two of our players who were part of the successful under-16 national netball team that successfully defended the Jean Pierre Under-16 Caribbean tournament. So we'll have a look at that after. But before we go into all of that, let's look at the back page of today's Guardian, because more success for Team Trinidad and Tobago this time in the ITTF American Caribbean Youth Championships in the table tennis. And of course, we did well in securing silver. That's Fraser and Thong set, and they did quite well to get silver. And I also want to just to mention, of course, the big picture there. You can't get away from it. The Houston Rockets forward Kevin Durant drives past the Lakers player there as the NBA playoffs are in full swing. Now, my team, Chicago Bulls, already out long time. We have made the playoffs in a long time, so I'm not really interested in the NBA playoffs. So just like an Arsenal fan, next year again, next year again, next year again. That's all I can see. But now let's switch focus now, because I mentioned before on Tuesday the Trinidad and Tobago Red Force match was abandoned on the third morning after 2 days have already been played. Our coach, Riyad Emirates, had already expressed his displeasure with how things went. Why did they wait until the third day to call off that match? Curtly Ambrose, who is the bowling consultant for the Leeward Islands, he concurred, and here this package that we put together based on his comments. Only after delivery from Jadon Seals jumped up deviously off the pitch at the Sir Vivian Richards Stadium and caused a laceration above the eye of Leeward's batsman Jeremiah Louis was a decision made to abandon the match due to conditions unfit for play. By that time, 27 wickets had fallen in the match, but more tellingly, at least 3 batsmen sustained knocks caused by the surface's uneven bunks, including TNT's Jed Gooley, who retired hurt before returning to register a 50 in his team's first innings. According to TNT coach Riyad Emirates on Tuesday, and supported by Leeward Islands bowling consultant Curtly Ambrose, the eventual abandonment was 2 days late.
When I arrived at the stadium Sunday morning, I looked at the pitch and immediately had my concerns. And I've been around cricket long enough to know when a pitch is prepared and prepared properly. I said, listen, I am very, very concerned the way the pitch looks, right? However, you would not know for sure until you play on it.
Ambrose was speaking on the Mason and Guest radio show in Barbados, where the Antiguan legend told the listeners that the venue had seen no cricket played there for a significant amount of time before the West Indies Championship.
The surface we played on this game hasn't been used for over a year. No kind of cricket played on it.
Wow.
Right? And Guyana and Windward Islands played the game at the same stadium on a pitch more east